Hey, how's it going? My name is Chris. Thanks for stopping by. I got my Logic track up from my song See Out Loud, which is off my new album, Origins. Yeah! I'll link to that if you want to go check out the song and then come back and then we can dig in to the session. Yeah, looking back on this track, I was reminded this one was birthed out of a lot of kind of weird samples that I looped together and did some experimenting with, mixed with vocal improv layers that I actually sent to analog tape and did half speed, reverse speed, or half speed, reverse, double speed, stuff like that, and then layered that all together and you get some kind of wacky results. And then just like fleshing that kind of like conglomeration of weirdness into a full track that became almost like a synth pop meets ambient meets lo-fi experimental weirdness, and it became See Out Loud. Okay, so I got the Logic session up here. I'm just going to jump ahead and play a bit here near the end of the song so you can kind of hear the full flavor of things, and then we'll dissect each part and look back on each section. Vocal layers here in yellow, tape loop, granular sampler stuff in purple. Right here is kind of that lead melody part. Piano, Rhodes, Ambience, bass, and drums up here. Cool. So, I mean, you can hear that section there. There's a lot going on, a lot of different layers and sounds. Yeah, let's start with the drums here, though. So, okay, I'll go back to earlier in the song. It starts with this simple kick drum. I got this from Heinbach, who put out a sample pack on Bandcamp, I believe. And yeah, he uses the DX1000 drum machine, which I think I looked around. It's pretty rare and pretty expensive. So I was happy to use Heinbach's sample pack that he put together and use this as just kind of like the backbone kick, I guess. There's a bigger kick that comes in later. Next comes in this couple beat samples where I just did some trippy stuff with a beat here. Hear that? It just kind of comes in and out. That makes the first few layers of drums. More Heinbach. Right here is J-Views samples that I used from Splice. I'm not afraid to use Splice samples. I will say, anytime I do, whether it's Splice or a sample pack from elsewhere or whatever, I usually always make it my own. So I do stuff with pitching, effects, things like that to kind of make it my own. But yeah, I mean, J-Views stuff is awesome. And fuller kick comes in later. That's another J-Views sample. And then, yeah, that kind of makes the backbone of the percussion drums layer that I built. And then I had my friend Reese Kling drum and just add. He's an incredible drummer, and he's just adding his own touch and ideas to the song here. I'll solo his stuff. I didn't do a lot of processing on his because I just kind of plopped it in there, did some very subtle stuff. Little EQ, little compression on the kick. And the snare, I did add the sound to his Devil Lock. Here's it without. Definitely gives it some gain boost, but a little bit of crunch, and definitely a lot of compression with it. Yeah, beyond that, room mics are very filtered, cut out like 300 and below, 6K and above. And then this Omni mic here was really cool what he did. So he had I think he added these effects. You can kind of hear that delay, almost like a phaser type sound in there as well. And then I just added this EQ, filtered out any low end. That's without EQ, that's with EQ. I love what he added to this song. Very repetitive, but it's such a fun beat. I think especially with when the synths come in later. Just that layered together is really cool. So all together, you can kind of hear everything's, for the most part, besides like room mics, really close mic. They're really dry. There's not a lot of atmosphere in the drums or reverb or anything like that. And then I feel like that contrasted well then with as you see some of the ambience and other stuff where there definitely is reverb, because it's not an Elskavon song without a heavy dose of reverb. But yeah, I wanted to keep the drums really dry, really tight. Add in the bass. Just bass guitar. I'd say probably most of the tracks, if not all the other tracks, if there's bass, it's usually synth. This one, no synth bass, just bass guitar. I just was in the mood. Just go a little bit more traditional. Get out the bass guitar. But anyways, so let me solo that. And this is just the bass dry. Nothing special. Really simple. Just hitting those notes on one, basically. But do a sub bass thing, just bring the bass amp modeler from Logic, but then it's this duck plugin that gives you that pulse on the quarter notes. That felt really good. I just keep that on the whole track, adding the drums back in. Right? Okay, then I have my Ambience group here, which looking back is mostly Rhodes electric piano. Listen to this one, Rhodes hands, which means I didn't even have the Rhodes on. I just was recording it raw and just getting that, like, pretty much the hands hitting the keys, but you do get a little bit of the note in, which I love, just a touch. So that just blended in the back of the track. You can hear me breathing and stuff. Very intimate. And then the Rhodes reverse ambient stuff I've got here. Oh, and it's down an octave as well, it looks like. More layers over here. So I was probably just improvising on the Rhodes. Reverse it. I don't know if I sent this through pedals or reverb or what, but you know, plugins, or if I send it through my guitar pedals or whatever, but yeah, that's all just Rhodes piano. And then Paul Stretch. It's a great plugin. Paul X Stretch. It's free to create drones out of basically anything. So it says piano, Paul Stretch. So this is piano that I just created this drone. It just builds up near the end of the song. That's kind of the main ambience layer subgroup there that closes out the song. And then Rhodes here under my keys section. Just playing a Rhodes part. Now, I'm gonna mute the plugins here so you can hear it dry. If you can hear, there's already this kind of this crunchiness to it. There's something slightly messed up with the speaker connection, cable connection with my Rhodes that I'm babysitting for a friend. But it's just so heavy that I just haven't had the motivation to go get it fixed yet. So built in, there's a little grit. Hey, but we like that, right? And then I just decided to embrace that and added some chorus here from the UAD. That's cool. And then I did the cassette plugin after that, which this thing is just really fun. And lots of stuff. You hear the warbly wow and flutter pitch wobbliness there. All right. Piano percussion. So that's a sampler or a sample of my piano that I just recorded, and then I just looped it. It's almost a percussive element. It's almost like a hi-hat, really, at that frequency. Okay, piano, CB, quick sample of that. This is just me sampling my piano. But do you hear how it cuts off the tail? So there's almost like this weird unnatural sound to it. Sounds like a piano, of course. I'm not processing that much, but then it cuts off, so the envelope makes it feel a little bit chopped, which I like. And then just using the Olafur Arnold's piano here, and I did some, what I got, like tape radiator plugin, Volf compressor and Valhalla Verb, and then like a Pan Man thing going on. It just kind of like builds into the next section there. And then me just improvising on my piano out in our family room here. Little 50s Wurlitzer Spinet with 80s Valhalla vintage verb. Okay. Vocal effects. I don't know why that's in the keys section, but it is. The first of many vocal layers, as you'll see, I just chopped up some oohs and ahs there. Who knows where I got it from? Past song of mine, or I recorded it on the spot. Who knows? Okay, this section here is kind of the lead section that comes in halfway through, or the main melodic part. Lots of layers playing the same part. So there's like a electric piano thing, more traditional piano, pan those left and right. Rev 2, this is my Prophet Rev 2 synth with some EQ, the Reels plugin, and sidechain compression. Okay, so you see that compression coming in and out. If you go back up here, this is my kick sidechain track that I created. So I used, this is kind of the main, the main louder kick that came in later. So I duplicated that to this track so I could create a sidechain input for sidechain compression there, so I could pump like that based on when the kick comes in. MK2, that's my Vermona Performer synth. Love this synth. I used it on almost every track of the new album. So good. Noise Stab. I think that's another Olafur Arnold sample. Love how warm that is. So blend that in, and then a pizzicato string sample. All that together. Oops. Bulk of the rhythm section, I guess, if you will, of the track. CS80 sample. Definitely a sample. I do not own a CS80. They're only going for what, 20 grand nowadays? Be fun, but yeah. So that I just kept repeating this line over and over, or these sounds from the CS80 sample. It's just such a trip. It almost sounds like, when it's mixed in, it sounds like this to my ear. Not necessarily a human, but some sort of like creature calling out in the wild, some metallic creature, like, I don't know. That's where my brain goes, I guess. But I really like that, and I just had it repeat over and over. I don't usually have stuff repeat so much, but I really like repetition with this song. And then when you take the repetition and blend it in and out of different other repetitive layers, you know, all of a sudden you have a song, something unique. Yeah. All right, the purple down here is from the Sampler app. SAMPLR, no E, on the iPad. And this app is really fun. You can do a lot with it. Obviously sampling things, but then the stuff you can do, I mean, you get these results here. A lot of like, I mean, with this one, a lot of rhythmic stuff, but that's all sourced out of tape loops, it looks like, that I recorded of, who knows, piano or synths, it sounds like, maybe. So you can do a lot of rhythmic stuff, ambient stuff, weird stuff. So here's the app, Sampler app. I just pulled up here. They have all these different like modes you can do. Right. Ooh. Cool. Anyways, so I just was messing around with that app and came up with these rhythmic, glitchy, synthy sounds. Again, I just felt really good to just repeat this stuff over and over. So this one, you know, this third one you have, go for a handful of measures. The others just kind of sit there for a while and keep looping. So good. All right, and then it's kind of on to vocals from that point. Here's my different vocal groups. So the dark gold there. Just sampling in vocals of mine. This one's just kind of nasty. Some weird digital artifact stuff going on. I liked it. Mixed in, you know, the mix. Felt really good. Yeah, it looks like for this one I mostly just use Logic sampler, quick sampler probably. Just tossing things in there. Splicing them up, playing them on different pitches, filtering, etc. Alright, main vocal bus here. And at the expense of being very vulnerable, I'll make these, let you listen to them dry. So this is just me improvising with vocal ideas. Who knows, maybe over that sampler loops. Some pitch correction, then I messed with formant, brought the formant down. Formant pitch, that is. And this part here is kind of like the main lyrical part. And I repeated that a few times, but I could tell, again, very loose with my duplicates there. So there's some messiness to it. Similar part here after that lead part comes in. Of course, a lot of reverb. This is just that bus dry. Did stuff with the SSL, a little compression, EQ, and then vintage verb, chaotic hall setting. Sounds about right. These vocals needed to be in a chaotic hall. Alright, and then just the last, oh no, we got two groups here. Vox, oh, I'll save that one for the last, the Vox on tape. But ooze here, again, Logic sampler, I think. A lot of repetition. This is probably the same recording that I just moved, you know, the starting point to a different section on the duplicate, pan it left, right. Get this bed. And it says TAC half to full. So TAC meaning, like I said, vocals. I did a lot of vocal stuff on this quarter-inch tape machine, and then I would print it back into Logic on half speed, or vice versa. And then last section here is this section, which you'll really hear the tape experiments here on these. I'm going to play them dry to start. Alright, and then I'll bring in the effects. Filter, black hole, reverb, little altar boy, UAD plate on the, this one is an octave up. Yeah, so what a mess. But it works, I thought. Oh, and this is on the intro, or the outro of the track, which is just going back to those ambient reverse Rhodes piano layers. Mix in the messy, trippy vocals. So yeah, like a lot of tracks on this album, tons of accidents and experiments, glitchy, loopy stuff, but especially on this one. But then I contrasted it, like you see there, with a very just kind of standard bass guitar foundation, some piano, washy parts, and then just that catchy, very layered synth melodic part in the middle there, and you've got, like I said, this blend of pop, experimental, ambient, whatever you want to call it. And that's that. That's See Out Loud.